I'm titling this message today, Human Dung Beetle. And I'm going to use an illustration from the actual animal, which is a dung beetle. Like a dung beetle rolling a ball of crap up a hill, so a man or a woman can also roll their foolish ways and their sins around. Tiring as it may be, uh, to be foolish and roll around old sinful ways and wondering why the way is so hard for them. Yet if we lose the ball of crap that we are pushing around with us, then we may be able to see what is in front of us. And so often we let certain things, habits, trip us up. Hebrews chapter 12 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off every weight that hinders and sin that so easily entangles, and let us run the race with perseverance." That's what it talks about in Hebrews 12. And so often we can let several things get in our way from progressing forward. We can either hold on to habits that we're really supposed to let go of, things that will hold us back, or we can just be holding on to things that are just not constructive. I mean, we all have distractions. We all have things that are not necessarily sin that we push around, but they get in our way. I mean, just for example, regret is one of them. When Paul was talking about how he was pressing on to reach the goal, he said, "Forgetting what is behind and straining towards what is ahead." And he's talking about how he's forgetting what's in the past. He's not dwelling on the past. As Isaiah says, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on them. Behold, I am doing a new thing." And so sometimes we have to let go of the past in order to move forward. But we certainly do have to let go of whatever foolish, sinful tendencies we may be holding on to as well. So we see weights that hinder and sins that so easily entangle. Those are the two big things. And so sometimes, even if it's not sin, sometimes, as Paul says, all things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial. All things are permissible, but I will not be mastered by anything. Well, he basically said all things are lawful for me, but not all things are beneficial. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be mastered by anything. And so Paul is even saying the things that are lawful, that are not directly sin, still, if we have too much of them or get distracted by them, they can still hamper us up in our efforts. So, some wonder why they fumble around and cannot make sense of life. And let's just take a look at Proverbs 4:19. "But the way of the wicked is darkest gloom. They do not know what makes them stumble." Okay, and so when we act like human dung beetles, we put unwholesome things in front of our faces and refuse to let them go. It can be sinful habits. Others roll their bitterness around with them, not realizing it. Others still think that they know, others will just think that they know is wrong, yet refuse to let it go. So if you think something's wrong and you keep holding on to it, that's counterproductive. A wrong habit, a wrong relationship, maybe a wrong belief system or a faulty view of life. Whatever it is, it slows us down. It becomes like a ball of crap that we are just pushing up a hill in vain. Others see them doing their thing and know why they are having a problem. So we can sometimes look at other people's lives and say, "Well, this is your problem. You can't see it because it's too close in front of your face." How often has somebody given us some valuable advice, but we were so close to the situation we couldn't see it for ourselves? And that's sometimes why it's so important to listen to wise advice and good, healthy criticism when it's coming from a source that truly cares about you. Like, let's say your parents or your close family member says, "This is what I think's going on." They usually have your best interest at heart. And so sometimes we can't see it. Sometimes we need an outside perspective that's not involved in the situation to give us some good advice, to say, "This is what I think you're doing, and this is how I think it's affecting you, and I'm saying this from a heart of love. I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to beat down on you. We all need people in our lives that care enough about us to tell us the truth, right? How valuable that is. We might not always like what we hear from other people, but still, it talks so much in the book of Proverbs about how the wise will listen to advice. And we got to also be careful with the advice we take. Of course, we want to make sure it's from a source that's credible, that's wise, that's not foolish themselves. But, we are supposed to be open to some healthy, constructive criticism. So, before we all knew Christ, we stumbled in our sins and foolishness. Yet, even as Christians, we can fall back into old ways that hold us back if we let ourselves. Yet we must, as Hebrews 12:1-2 says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a large crowd of witnesses surrounding us, let us lay aside every weight and sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that lies before us, keeping our eyes on Jesus, the source and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that laid before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of God's throne. That's Hebrews 12:1-2. We see Jesus had a very clear goal in mind. He didn't focus on the suffering he was going to have to endure for humankind. He focused on the reward of that. What was the reward? What was the joy that was set before him? Was it not that he could save us from our sins and we could become adopted sons and daughters of the living God through that sacrifice? Jesus wanted to restore us. Jesus wanted to bring us back to life. Jesus wanted to give us a new lease on life. And, Jesus saw his joy, the joy of that, not just the pain and suffering of what he had to go through. And so sometimes when we're going through something, we focus just on the pain that's involved. We don't focus on the goal. Like if you go to work out and lift weights and stuff like that, you're not going to be thinking about how tiring it is, how grueling it is, how heavy the weights may seem. You're going to focus on, I want to build some muscles. You're thinking about, I want to get strong. I want to get in shape. You focus on your goal. You don't focus on the effort and you do put an effort into it, but you don't just focus on, oh, I have to go lift my weights. It's going to be so tiring. It's going to be so grueling. If you focus on that, you're going to give up quickly. When you try to start a diet and you try to eat healthier, do you focus on all the things you cannot eat and say, oh, I just can't eat that. I just can't eat that. Oh, my life's not fun anymore. Or do you think about the results and the rewards that you'll get from eating healthy and getting back in shape? So, when we focus on the right thing, the reward, as opposed to the pain that's involved, we set ourselves up more to succeed than if we just focus on the discomfort of the process. And that's the way it is with the Christian life. We're not focusing just merely on this life here on earth. We're focusing on heaven. And one day we will be in the presence of Jesus Christ and be with him forever. We're focusing on that. We're focusing on the fact that one day Jesus will come and save us and take us home and to be with him. And we'll get to enjoy an eternity in the presence of Jesus Christ in a world where there is no sin, no crime, no sorrow, no pain, no nothing like that. As it says in Revelations, I will wipe every tear away from their eye. And we're focusing on the eternal goal. The eternal goal is what we got to keep in mind as Christians, where we're pushing forward, where we're dealing with people. And it says also in Hebrew, consider him who endured such hostility from sinful men, so you will not grow tired or lose heart. So basically, Jesus faced a lot of opposition from difficult people. These people wanted to kill him. They crucified him, right? And he wasn't just thinking about, oh, these people are just such scumbags. They're just so bad. He was focusing on the reward of redemption for people that truly didn't deserve it. Jesus was focusing on our greater good, not on his personal discomfort in that moment. So Jesus is our perfect example. It says, consider him who endured such hostility from sinful men, so you will not grow weary or lose heart. And so if we focus on just the difficult circumstances surrounding us or just the difficult people, we could easily lose heart. We could look around at this world today, just turn on the news and grow cynical. That's how you do it. If you turn on the news, you look at the world, you'll see all the things going on, and you could easily grow depressed, discouraged, or even angry. But if you focus on the right things, you can truly have a different perspective. Think about how the Lord is one day going to set everything wrong right and fix this broken world we live in. And if we focus on the wrong things, that will truly slow us down. So we got to focus on what his word tells us to focus on. We see in Philippians 4, it says, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, if there's anything excellent, anything praiseworthy, anything lovely, think about such things, and the God of peace will be with you. Some people wonder why they're lacking peace in their Christian lives. Well, examine what you're filling your head with. Are you thinking about whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, excellent, praiseworthy? Are you thinking about those types of things? Are you just turning on the news and looking at how much everything's falling apart? That's the key question. And we can choose what we allow to enter into our heads. We can choose what we fill our minds with. And if we are having the fruit of negative emotions, we should examine the root. The root is often we are putting the wrong things in our minds and putting the wrong things before our faces. But it says here that we are to set our eyes on Jesus, the source and perfecter of our faith. If you want to have peace, we're going to set our eyes on him, not on the things that drag us down. God bless.